All of our books start out with the mindset. If you don't have a mindset about what you're talking about or what you're looking to do, you're lost. The mission for my company, for our company, Arootah, is the greatest good for the greatest number. We are doing this because we want to create value, not a mindset to make money. If we create value, we'll make plenty of money. But the mindset of the firm is always create value for our clients. It's really tough to find the leadership skills and the correlation for leadership skills on communication, on delegation. One is to identify talent, and the other is to develop talent.
Think deeply about your core values. Some of my core values include integrity, honesty, compassion, fiscal responsibility, following the rule of law, and protecting our democratic norms and our institutions.
There's two organizations that I care deeply about. I mentor, which mentors high school children, and then Help for Children that supports abused children. We do sign up for a free coaching call that I am going to donate $50, $25 to each.
We generally want what's best for our families, what's best for our communities. Reasonable people can disagree on very complex issues. That's normal and healthy in a democracy, in a vibrant democracy. That's the way it's supposed to work. We tend to favor information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs while we're dismissing contradictory evidence. This is known as a confirmation bias. Talk a lot about this in our coaching. It's a cognitive bias. It takes real effort and open-mindedness to step outside of our partisan bubbles and critically examine our beliefs and try to see perspectives from other people's viewpoints. We need to do this, though. It's vital. Vital for just being a well-informed citizen, frankly. Don't just dismiss everything that they say because they're from one party or the other. You have to have plans to achieve your goals. A lot of people say, oh, I've got my goals. You have a plan? And they say, oh, I've got a plan. Where's their plan? Yeah, in your head. You've got to be open-minded. You have to be really curious about other people's perspectives. Diversity, it's a real benefit for businesses. You're hyper-focused on something, and your performance is at its highest level. We want to be in that state as much as possible. This is why I love coaching so much. These are the things that you want to get done that don't have deadlines. Those are the things that coaches help you with.
When I talk to portfolio managers, I let them know you're managing two portfolios, your portfolio of investments and your portfolio of people. And as you grow, that portfolio of people becomes a much more important portfolio to manage. You know, as any leader knows, a mindset of a leader is they're really curious. So if you're curious about something, write it down, and then you can dig deeper into it. So obviously there's two parts of the business. That's identifying the managers, and then there's also construction of the portfolios, how you work with and mentor and coach emerging managers that are not in your platform, but maybe at some point they're kind of on the bench. It's really tough to find the leadership skills and the correlation for leadership skills on communication, on delegation. One is to identify talent, and the other is to develop talent. Knowledge becomes the catalyst for change. It opens our eyes to the possibilities that lie within our grasp and gives us the confidence to embark on a path of growth and self-improvement. Now, knowledge about habits is probably the best bang for your buck. In other words, you'll be getting the highest return on your most precious resource, time, by studying this topic. Studies show that anywhere from 40 to 95% of people's daily behavior is habit-driven. Mastering this topic is literally the difference between having a high quality of life, a mediocre life, or a life filled with pain and suffering. You choose. Your future self is so much more of a better advisor than your current. Your current self is programmed for immediate gratification. We're literally programmed for immediate gratification. For me, if somebody asked me, what is my secret to success? It's perseverance, persistence, keep going, and process. I'm all about process. Anytime I learn something, process. How do we distill this complex concept into a process?
But I want to take a moment to address the deep political divisions and the polarization that is enveloping our country right now, really gripping our country. So what I'm about to discuss has nothing to do with taking sides. And in fact, my views are really independent of any political party. So there's a real danger to this divisiveness. We're living in an extreme era of partisanship. People are extremely and increasingly seeing those from the opposing party not just as individuals with different policy positions or different views, but it's fundamentally bad people, right? Fundamentally bad, immoral people, enemies. When we demonize those people who disagree with our views with us politically, we lose our ability to compromise. We lose our ability to engage in a civil discourse. We lose our ability to tackle the major challenges facing our nation in a very pragmatic way. We lose that ability. And calling somebody an enemy, bad, evil, how are you going to negotiate with that person? So we've got to remember that despite our political differences, we're all Americans, and frankly, all people of the world. Another foundational American principle is equality. The idea that all people are created equal with inalienable rights, regardless of race, religion, gender, or other circumstances of birth. This pairs with a cultural emphasis on individualism and self-reliance, where people take responsibility for charting their own course through hard work and achievement. Another core foundational value of our country. Success is meant to come through personal effort and merit, not just based on, not just handed down by privilege. Rather than demonize those who disagree with us, we must strive to engage each other's ideas respectfully and make arguments based on the ethical principles that we all hold ideal. We have to relearn how to disagree without being disagreeable. We should be able to passionately argue opposing views while respecting each other's humanity. Civil discourse and a free exchange of ideas is the hallmark of a healthy, democratic society. And let's model the behavior that we want to see from our political leaders. Let's engage each other with empathy, nuance, and intellectual humility. Our democracy really depends on it.
My first major job, which was at Tiger Management, we had a corporate wellness program there. We had a trainer there. It was my first trainer. I was like, I have a trainer? Cool. I had to really learn about physical structure and working out and all that stuff. So yeah, I was exposed to it at an early age. Prevention.
Okay.
For me, it's all about prevention. As Ben Franklin says, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure.
Absolutely.
It's not just a saying, right? It really makes a lot of sense. If you have to get into the cure stage, you're in trouble.
Right.
If you can even be cured,
right,
it makes much more sense to focus on prevention. I believe that the top 10 causes of death are all preventable. So what does that mean?
right.
That means we're choosing to kill ourselves, right? At the end of the day, that's really the bottom line, is we are choosing to kill ourselves because it's the choices that we make to not prevent these diseases that are leading to an untimely death or to just an unhealthy life and an uncomfortable life at a minimum as we get older. So prevention's really, that's the first principle. The book is about 10 principles. So that's the first principle is prevention.
So Rich, you were at the forefront of corporate wellness programs.
Energy and health are directly correlated. There's no doubt in my mind. You've got to be healthy in order to have the energy to achieve your goals and to accomplish your mission. And yoga is probably, as you know, probably the best exercise you can do. I think you get all three. You get structure, you get aerobic and anaerobic.
That's right.
People don't think you can get aerobic, but you can with yoga.
Yes, and
so,
flexibility, which is often overlooked. Yes.
Right, flexibility is probably the biggest one. So so nobody did yoga, and then it became a fad. Then everybody started doing it, and everybody wanted to do yoga. It's like, oh, can we get a yoga instructor? It's like, well, you were all right, fine. So yes, we had a couple of yoga instructors, as you might recall. So really, that was probably the biggest challenge. But everybody liked to work out. Really, the trainer. It's not just a trainer being there. Really, getting your butt in the gym. Having a trainer gets you in the gym. You've got an appointment, you get there. So having a trainer, that's kind of 50% of it at least is just getting into the gym.
Right.
And then having a trainer that's likable, a really good guy who can really talk to you about your problems. And they get you when you're really working out. It's like, so you open up a lot more. So it definitely increased their energy, reduced their time out of the office. People hardly ever got sick, and was amazing for the camaraderie and the culture of our firm.
That sounds like an incredible experience for everyone involved.
Absolutely, yeah. It was really amazing for the team. And if you talk to any folks now that we wound Blue Ridge down, you talk to them. It's really hard for them to recreate that, that culture and people that understand, leaders that actually understand. You're getting a high return on your time and on your dollars by investing in your employees. The best investment you can make is in yourself, right?
Right.
And then in your employees.
Yes.
It's kind of like the oxygen mask. You got to invest in yourself first. You won't be able to help your employees. Usually the first thing I'll ask them, these high-powered executives, is sleep. I had one guy that I'm coaching, a super senior guy at Goldman Sachs. My first meeting with him was, I asked him, I was like, hey, how's your sleep? He's like, how's my sleep? Like, what do you? He's like, this is supposed to be executive coaching. Like, what does sleep have to do with that? It's like, hey, I coach a lot of executives. Usually their sleep sucks.
Right.
It's like, how's your sleep? He's like, it sucks.
Yes.
You're right.
Exactly.
It sucks. It's really bad. It's like, help me. Yeah, so we focused on that. That's first, because sleep leads to energy. It's renewal of energy. There are so many benefits of getting sleep and so many detriments of having a lack of sleep. So it is the number one principle. It's before a lot of people think, oh, I got to get more exercise. And they're like, nope, sleep comes first. Without sleep, then we talk about other areas. But you really have to focus on sleep, and not just any sleep, not just the amount of sleep, but the quality of your sleep as well. When you sleep, when you go to sleep, when you wake up.
Right.
Because people may get 7, 8 hours and they're still exhausted, and there are reasons for that. Sometimes they may be taking medications for sleep.
Right.
They think that helps them to fall asleep, but do they get a good deep sleep? No.
Right.
People will drink before they go to sleep. They'll fall asleep, but they're not getting good sleep. And you can see that I have the Oura ring on. I measure my sleep, so you can really see the statistics yourself. I really insist on anything that we do and any goal you set, measurement's really where it's at.
Right.
Yeah.
That puts it right in front of us so that we know exactly where we are. And that makes it so powerful for us to, I think, as you would say, close the gap, right? Of where you are and where you need to be.
Right. And most people are not where they need to be, certainly in sleep. Between 7 and 8 hours generally.
Yeah.
It does differ for different people.
I think that would also contribute to the company culture when your whole team is rested. Everyone is getting along better.
Everybody's different. We all have a different type of fuel that serves us. Not everybody's the same. And a lot of it is based on where we come from our genetics, from our, the regions that we lived in. And that made a lot of sense to me, as opposed to just everybody should eat this and this and this. It made a lot of sense to me. And I think that probably is why some of these blue zones, people do well in the blue zones, because they're eating what they're meant to eat in these cultures. It's probably not a lot of processed foods there as well. But I know you're working with me on that particular principle and chapter. Let me turn it around on you.
Okay.
What can you tell us about nutrition?
Well, thank you, Rich. So certainly I have had a really interesting experience in studying the blue zones, and also in studying how your ancestry might impact how you process your foods. Yeah.
We are social beings, and it's a really important, if you look at it, I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that when we get to the longevity principle. Yeah, it's a big part of why people have long, and it's not just, as we'll talk about, it's not just lifespan and living longer. It's about health span, right? Living longer and living healthier and living so you can enjoy life. The key to exercise is doing something that you enjoy, right? Figuring out something that you enjoy. So, and there are different ways to do it. One of my favorite coaches, Tony, would talk about, if you're going to do something, you have a goal, always add to it, how can I do this, right? Like, how can I run? And then add to it and enjoy the process. Always add to use your brain is right. Your brain is still the best computer that there is.
Right.
AI's catching up, but humans are still the AI's catching up. You're gonna get ideas from it, but always add. How can I exercise and enjoy them? So there's so many different ways to enjoy the process. So, for instance, if you like running or whatever you do, music. Right? Music really gets you there, so that and then you can become even addicted to it.
Right.
A lot of people talk about, this runner's high and all those things. So I think that's one of the big keys to exercise is figuring out something that you enjoy the process. Sign up. I love basketball. Sign up for a league. You go. Yeah. It's great exercise, and you're having fun, and you're getting the social benefits that that we talked about before. That's also healthy. So how do you do it? And enjoy the process. Crisis opportunity is when you have a crisis, something really bad happens. Maybe it's something like that, or maybe your mother-in-law, and then what are you going to do about it? Where's the opportunity? There's always at least an opportunity to grow. Like even the opportunities, there's at least at a minimum, there's not. I say that's the last one. People say, oh, you grow, like the opportunity is to grow. It's like, you know what? Find the real opportunity. The stock market goes down. That's the best time to buy when it hasn't been time in the history of the world where the stock market, or the US anyway, where the stock market's gone down forever. Buy. Now, this is not an individual stock, but the idea is, where's the opportunity in the crisis? This one mindset has helped me so much with my emotional intelligence. Like, something bad happens, where's the opportunity? So it's like, oh, this is horrible, bad, 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 bad. Where's the opportunity? It's a great mindset. Bring your most difficult challenge, whatever it is. See, if you don't make significant progress or some progress on it, or maybe handle it right there, you can handle stuff right away. It's like, hey, make the call. You haven't spoken to your sister in 3 years? Let's call her right now, or call her as soon as you're done with the call. Maybe you're worrying about it, like, boom, done. Oh, you're right. I should have called her 3 years ago, blah, blah, blah. So bring your toughest challenge. At the end, we are going to ask you, hey, did you get any value out of this? But it's not going to be a pitch. If you're interested, then we'll tell you about it. If you're not, no harm, no foul. We've done good. I like good karma. Hopefully we helped you on something. We have a lot of learning and development topics that we like to work with, especially HR folks on, talent people. Get this stuff, how important it is. They get how important it is to invest in their people. It's really usually only talent people, the heads of the firms, they usually don't get it. Why? Because you don't see the results right. You don't see a return right away. But it's, to the talent people, they get it. So you want to invest in your people. Of course, your most precious resource, your human resources. Of course you want to invest in your people. So we love talking about this stuff. These are the different formats that you can do. There's, different, 1 hour. You can do it lunch and learn. We can talk about those again to the folks. We're a talent firm at the end of the day. If you have a really difficult challenge, right? You have a really difficult challenge. There's two types of forces that can help you with this challenge. These are goals. You have a really difficult goal. There's an external force and an internal force. An internal force that can help you with this challenge, these are things like willpower, right? That pretty much is it, willpower. Now, willpower is great, but it's fleeting. It may not be there when you need it the most, right? External forces, though, this is something like coaching. That's why I love coaching so much. It's an external force. Coaches are going to be there for you. You need these you need both, right? You need the willpower and these external forces, this technology. And then you infuse that with a coach taking a look at that. It's like, hey, felt this way? It's like, what happened there? Ooh, so you feel miserable, at 3 o'clock. It's like, oh yeah, that's when I'm meeting with my boss every day, right? You can see, oh, what's going on there? This is why I love coaching. Coaching, the coaches that I have give me clarity. They give me clarity on my mission. Why am I here? What's my purpose? What's my dharma? Let me get really clear on that. And then, what are we going to do about it? There's some goals that are aligned with that. So what are the goals we're going to set that are aligned with my mission? Then what? Strategy. What's the strategy? What is my plan? How am I going to achieve these goals? Not just going to happen. Say, great, I have goals. That's just the first step. Now what's the plan? What is the plan that I have to achieve these goals? And then the A part, this is where really the rubber meets the road. Accountability. Most people don't have goals. We do all kinds of goal setting workshops, blah, blah, blah. Few that are left that have goals, they don't have plans. Where's your plan? We ask them, where's the plan? Oh, it's in here. Yeah, it's got to be written down. Where's the plan? Your coach will force you to write it down. We have all kinds of technology, for our stuff. We have plan managers, goal managers, blah, blah, blah. Then the hard part. You got the plan. Now you need to execute. For those of you investment professionals, right, they know it's the execution. So this is accountability. The coaches will hold you. They'll do what it takes to hold you accountable, especially a coach that loves you. And I love my coaches. This is why I love my coaches. This is why I'm in this business. This is why we do what we do. And what do? We don't procrastinate. I was fortunately exposed to an ashram. At this ashram, there were people who were studying yoga and meditation. It's like, really wasn't a big thing back then, even though it's been around for thousands and thousands of years, but not in the West.
Yeah.
So we went in there and we were exposed to this Swami. He came up to my family and said, is there anything that I can do for you guys? Give me your biggest problem. So I was like, all right. So my dad said, my brother had epilepsy. And I was like, all right, my son has epilepsy. Can you help us? Not thinking that this guy could do anything. I was sort of joking with him. This guy's in white robes.
Yeah.
And weirdly, fast forward, he talked to my brother, asked him what brought it on, gave him breathing exercises. Now my brother was seeing all kinds of doctors, all the best doctors in New York City and Manhattan. He was on, I even remember the drug, he was on phenobarb. They tried everything. Epilepsy is a really horrible condition. So, the family was suffering. Of course, my brother was suffering.
Yes.
Fast forward, he never had another seizure in his life.
That's amazing.
We're like,
That's
this dude knows something.
wow.
So we're like, all right,
incredible.
yoga, what do you got?
Yeah.
Yoga, meditation, yeah. What else you got? Nutrition. So they were all about it. This is an interesting topic. Everybody procrastinates. It's a fan favorite. So there's two types of procrastination. One type of procrastination on things where you do have deadlines, right? These are things that actually will get done. What's the problem with procrastinating on something like it? Stress, right? Stress, you might not do a good job, you might screw up on it, but you get it done, right? So, all right, you get it done. The types of procrastination without deadlines, without apparent deadlines. These are things like maybe you haven't talked to your sister in 3 years. Right? There's no deadline for that. Maybe there is. What would the deadline for that be? Yeah, maybe she dies, maybe I die, and never get it done. Maybe, sorry, I'm a little emotional about that one because that happened to me, right? And it's like the coach, like, hey, let's just call her. Did boom. We didn't know why we were mad at each other. Barb. Then there's maybe you wanted to write a book, right? Maybe you wanted to write a book, and then you're on your deathbed, and it's like, oh shit, didn't get it done. And this is another one that that I have experience with. My uncle Mario, super healthy. I think he was 80, and he always wanted to write this book about animal rights. He's studying this his whole life, and then boom, doctor, liver cancer. Don't have long to go. Luckily, he had a nephew who is a coach and has a great team that can help write. He wrote that book. I think he died probably 3 or 4 weeks later. He wrote that book in 2 weeks, and I have my cousin Jack here. My Aunt Linda's watching. Don't be jealous, Aunt Linda. I'll talk about you one day. We got the book written with him, and tears streaming down his eyes. Actually, the book, I brought the book. I have it here. I remember thinking, I'm going to talk about it. I have the book. He's like, my Pulitzer, got it done. No, most people won't get that chance, right? These are things, procrastinating on things you want to do, the bucket list, things you want to do that don't have a deadline, but they really do at some point. It's like, oh shit. For the business professionals, this is why I went into this business, and this is why I love coaching.